Are we live?
Can you guys see it?
Yeah, well, it's
No.
recording. It's recording. It's
It's
not live.
recording.
All right.
Okay, Stuart, you're live.
Excellent. All right. Wow, you guys. Welcome to the first e-commerce work group session. This is sort of a continuation of the Thursday night call that we have been doing on Sharon's room. And so Sharon's here as well. That's really great. Looks like we have 12 participants. Hopefully some more folks will join on, and hopefully this will kind of catch on. I wanted to mention a couple things before we got started. One was that I apologize for, let's say, lack of topics and things like that, because John and I had only decided on this day for this call, just yesterday maybe, or the day before. And so I put out a little request for topics. We got a couple few, but I think what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of the free form kind of sessions that we've been doing in the past. I'll roll through some of the stuff that I kind of took notes of. We'll open the floor for like Q&A, and we'll see if we can all help each other out with whatever challenges. And with that said, again, this is the first of a series of e-commerce work groups. I want to be clear. I do a disclaimer every week kind of thing. I just want to be clear that, I'm only into this e-commerce thing about 6 months, just like everybody else. These work groups have been, for those of us, that felt like we were learning things and wanted to share things with the group, then that's what we've been doing. And hopefully folks have been finding it helpful. And we'll just keep rolling on whatever topics and challenges and things that people want to do. We always like to talk a little bit about Zoom etiquette and, mute your mics and things like that. I know there's not a lot of us in here now, but, as the group gets bigger and as the rooms get bigger, then inevitably, somebody's making noise that we can't deal with. Speaking of which, since I am the host of this meeting, let me open the chat and the participants. Fantastic. Okay, and if you guys didn't know, you can stay muted. And did you know there's a shortcut to do like a walkie-talkie deal on your microphone? So if you just press the space button, in theory, it should.
Oh, cool. Well,
I didn't realize that.
I said, oh, cool.
What? Oh, cool.
And I can mute myself.
You can do that, okay?
Good for me.
For the longer chatting we do on John's daily call and things like that. But if you just got something quick to interject or a quick question, that's a great way to do it. Okay, and then, I like to do a little bit of like housekeeping updates, things like that. And I know that, folks are at different stages. I just wanted to toss it out there. Off the top of my head, Sharon, I know that you had been having some issues, and I'd love to hear an update from you on what you got going on and how everything is progressing with you.
Well, my space bar didn't work, but I'm going to figure it out. Yeah, I was hoping to hear something from Amazon. I believe it was your Thursday night call that I opened up my utility bill, and it was good to go, and made copies and sent it into Amazon. And according to the Amazon spokesperson I spoke with a week or so ago, that was all I needed to do. So as of this moment, still no activation, but I'm not stressed about it. It's going to happen.
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Anybody else with any challenges, hurdles, updates, successes, wins, anything that you want to share real quick, or and then we can go into like questions? Is anybody working on something that they're trying to figure out?
I just launched a big mastermind group and website, and it's going well. Thank you.
Wait, what's that?
Yeah, I'm with John.
Oh my God,
I'm busy in another direction, but I got a
I
big
love
presentation tonight, so
Okay.
that's what I'm doing.
Well, good enough. Evelyn, did you have a question or something that you wanted to share?
Yes, and I'd like to say congratulations, John. This is a big day. Congratulations. I just wanted to add that I had a really successful phone call with my supplier yesterday. It went very efficiently, boom, 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 and we got all my questions answered. And that supplier was a result. My contact with that supplier was a result of Mark's action and sharing the virtual India sourcing show, Megalith show, with us. So I want to extend a thank you to Mark, because I wouldn't have met this supplier if it hadn't have been for you. So thank you for your generosity and your consideration to everybody else. Thank you.
Awesome.
You bet. I'm glad it worked out for you, Evelyn. And that's good. They're a great supplier. I think you'll do well with them.
All right.
And I think they'll do well with you.
Well, thanks,
Thank-
Mark, for sharing, man. Everybody really appreciates all that information about the India trade fair that you shared with everybody. So thanks for that. Okay, and I want to share a quick win. Leah and I did a video inspection, a virtual inspection of our cargo, our finished product in China last night. And so we did a WeChat. Thanks to Sharon for verifying us, but we did a little WeChat, and we had this really amazing experience with the quality worker at the factory, and he didn't speak any English or maybe a couple few words, and so it was really this cool communication, this cool, you know, nonverbal or whatever. We talked, but it was just cool. We did our little thing, and so now our product has been inspected. We made the final payment, and it'll be shipped any day now. So, yay. Okay, cool. As far as topics, you know, I posted a little thing in the Facebook room, in John's new Facebook group, you know, asking for topics and questions and things, but it was, you know, short notice kind of thing. So only a few people answered. Evelyn wanted to talk about landing pages and going off site, but then John replied and mentioned that Shannon was going to do some sort of a moving off platform on Thursday night on her session at this time. Is that correct, John?
Sorry, I was.
No worries, man. I was saying that Evelyn had asked in the Facebook group to do something on Shopify and moving off platform, and you had responded saying that Shannon was going to do something like that on Thursday. So I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah, Brand Builder, which is a
Yes.
branding and marketing bit with Shannon Lavenia on Thursdays at, I think, 8 o'clock.
This time.
Is it? Okay, very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, but is she going to do Shopify and moving off platform?
Oh, yeah. Well, branding as it relates to multiple platforms and venues is not Amazon specific in any way. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. I look forward to that, and I guess you guys will too. So then we can talk a little bit about landing pages if you guys are interested. And you know, one of the things that we've all been learning in our courses and things that we've all paid for previously is moving off platform as quickly as you can, diversifying. It helps when you are thinking about, you know, selling your brand or selling your business. And those of us that have been going through getting barcodes and GTINs, it's also good to remind us all that if you use a GTIN or you get an exemption for your product to get an FN SKU on Amazon, then you can't really sell that product off platform. So that you have to get individual UPCs or GTINs if you plan on having your products be both on Amazon and off platform. With that said, there's a different couple ways that, and this is all just 101 stuff. There's a lot of great information out there about how to set up Shopify stores and landing pages and things like that. I'll do a brief kind of what's up with that, and I have a couple of web pages open that I can share with you guys, excuse me, and some links, and then we can move on from there. Does anybody want to take a crack at what they think a landing page is?
Is that like a website? It's just sort of
It is a website.
that people land, have a page that sort of identifies you as a actual brand, and it kind of just highlights maybe what your products and services are, but it doesn't go to a lot of different like pages, right?
That's,
Tells a little bit about your store.
You're muted.
Hey, Stuart, we've lost you.
You're muted, Stuart.
Sorry. No, just kidding. What do you think? What do you think the main purpose of a landing page is?
To prove you exist.
Anybody else?
It's an offer page, isn't it, Stuart, where you're trying to float an offer and it pulls them in onto the relevant offer page to land
Yes,
them onto
and
your
the-
site?
and the sole function, if you have only one thing on your landing page, what should it be?
It's your offer, isn't it? The specific offer?
A way to capture somebody's information to generate leads, essentially, right? And John would probably agree, and maybe I'm off base with this, but from what I understand, the whole thing about a landing page is to, you know, capture people's information so that you can create a a mailing list and be able to market to those people. That can also include a sign up. And honestly, I think the mastermind page, we would probably all agree that you first go on to is a form of a landing page where you then put in your info, you sign up for the thing, and that's what you get. A landing page can be a page on your website. It can be, so you can have several different landing pages on your website that you can track, one from Google, one from here, one from there, or whatever, one from a Facebook ad, one from a, another ad from a Google ad or something like that. So that you can track, where your traffic is coming from and even have different offers for different things.
Hey, Stuart. Sorry,
Yeah.
I've heard the term funnel.
Yes.
And you're probably going to get to this,
Yeah.
but is that like a landing page where you gather someone's email, say, and that takes them to another page? Is this how the funnel idea works?
It implies like a funnel, but really at the bottom of the funnel is somebody buying something. Right? I mean, that's really what it's about, right? Is creating a way to channel customers to a place where they can buy stuff, right? ClickFunnels, which is a website, and I'll bust that out in a second. You guys can check out. And if I'm correct, John's site is a ClickFunnel site. And so, just for example, we were all looking at one, this morning or something like that. So here, let me do a couple things. Can I share my screen with you guys? Let's see. Okay. You got me? Are you with me? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So here's ClickFunnels. And you can get, a free 14-day trial. But essentially, you create a landing page. People get onto the email list. Then that funnels them into a sales page where they can, purchase something, a membership or products or whatever. A good one like ClickFunnels, is all integrated with payments. Then there's upsell options as well, memberships to deliver content, things like that. So that's kind of the ClickFunnels model. There's one that I recall from one of the coaching calls or something that we did recently was Landing Cube. I don't know if anybody's ever used this. I haven't, but it's sort of a similar deal. You get a free trial, you make a landing page. And what these really do, and then Shopify is another one, lead pages, and I'll drop all these in the chat box, or I'll send out, I'll post it on the Facebook page or something like that. And then I just popped open a couple of cool websites that I thought here about landing pages. And so as you roll down this, 5 essential elements, your unique selling proposition, right? Do you guys remember what the unique selling proposition is? It's essentially like why somebody should buy your product, right? What you're offering and why they should buy it, and what makes you different. What's the classic one is the Domino's pizza. You get your pizza in 30 minutes or it's free or something like that. And so your USP, typically the way that these are set up is, you have a main headline, a supporting headline, a reinforcement statement, and a closing argument. Then you got the hero shot, right? Which is, some sort of images or video, of what's going on, the benefits that you're offering, some sort of social proof, and a conversion goal or a call to action, right? And, your ClickFunnels thing, they're saying here that it's a good idea to use the headline that matches what somebody clicked on, the headshot. Here's the place where you collect the info. There's some features and benefits, things like that. It all seems pretty cool, right? Benefits, and then the closing argument statement. Here you go. Here's the Domino's. You get fresh hot pizza delivered to your door in 30 minutes or less, or it's free, right? And we've talked a lot about this in John's call. It's probably a good idea for everybody to think about what their unique selling proposition is. That's all kind of in here. You guys can check that out at your leisure. Let me see what this is. Landing page examples, I'll throw that in there. What's the goal, right? So before you build a landing page, you should ask yourself, what's the goal? Who are you competing against? Who's your audience? How did they get there, right? And so again, that goes back to trying to track things, Facebook versus Google versus Twitter versus other things. All kinds of cool info on how to make good landing pages with high quality content. All pages lead to Rome, meaning to the place where somebody can buy something, right? make it easy to convert, flawless design, clear call to action, eye-catching headlines, engaging, happy. You guys, am I going too fast with this? We only have an hour, so I'm just rolling.
No, you're fine.
Okay, good. This is how my brain works, okay? 19 of the best landing pages, same kind of deal, you know, different kinds of things, how to optimize. I'll drop all this in there, and then we can go from there. So Shopify, just to let you know, and many of these other things, but Shopify is one of those that's essentially kind of plug and play and pretty easy. All you really need, and you don't even need that, is your own domain name, right? You can start a Shopify store and just be whatever at Shopify. But if you have your own domain, then essentially what happens is when somebody goes to your website, they're going to your Shopify store, but they don't really know it's a Shopify store. Shopify is not a platform like Amazon, right? Or it's not a marketplace like Amazon, it's a platform. So it's just a place where you put your website. But unlike Amazon, which generates traffic and customers, you have to generate those customers, right? So if you have a Shopify page, or Shopify website, and here's another one, what are landing pages and how do they work? If you have a Shopify store, I'm gonna stop sharing here for a minute.
Stuart, can I jump in on that one?
Yeah, please.
We had a session in one of our training courses on Shopify from a lady that specialized in it. One of the advantages was that there were ready-made tools for just about everything you can think of, including ebooks, payments, everything. So they have built an integrated system. It's not cheap though, that's the problem. You've got to pay for each tool that you decide to use. But if you can imagine launching a store, everything has been written and coded. You don't need to worry about getting a web designer to especially code up a brand new system. They've made everything work, integrated it, you just pay. So if you want to go the handmade route where you make your own sales, you make your own shop, you take the payments, you deliver, that's how some of these people have gone, and it's very, very robust and popular.
Thank you, man. Absolutely. And I was going to get to that in a minute. Shopify versus WordPress versus Wix and some of these.
Sorry, Stuart.
No worries, dude. I love it. This is all brainstorm, bro. I love it. It's not me just blah blah. This is, you know, interactive, so I like it. But I did want to say that if you had a Shopify store, what that really means is you have to generate your own sales. And so
last week I watched the Helium 10 thing on Zipify, which is basically a variation of what Adrian was talking about, where it's basically an all-in-one. And he also gives you templates on how to set up, including something like as simple as having the click button above the fold, so to speak, so that it's because some people don't go below a certain point on the website, so it's worth having your button above that point, otherwise they'll never see it. Example.
So what I'm suggesting, and I agree, and I think it's great that it's a one-stop shop where you can create a whole store, you can integrate tools, you can integrate all kinds of plugins and things like that, and I believe that you can even essentially link that back to an Amazon product if you wanted. You could right? You can integrate that with Amazon for your own store, or you can sell those products on your own through your Shopify store, which of course saves you at least 30% that you wouldn't have to pay to Uncle Jeff, right? So, you know, there's definitely a lot of reasons why you would want to do something like that. But what that means is that you got to kick down for Facebook ads or Google ads and things like that. And so then you start getting into Facebook groups and how to, you know, find communities, you know, where you can advertise your products and things like that. Hold on just a sec, guys. Sorry about that. And so, yeah, so then you're kind of on your own to do that. And we can do, you know, Facebook ads and all kinds of cool stuff like that another time, or Shannon can do that kind of stuff. But I think we're all going to get a really good education in that. About Shopify, yeah, one-stop shop. It was recommended to us, Adrian, as well. You know, if you were really just doing the e-commerce thing, if you had a choice between like the WordPress or the Shopify, Shopify is a little more user-friendly, and it's really just kind of all integrated to do that. And again, I'm sure either Shannon or somebody else is going to do a thing on Shopify. In terms of the other, if you don't want to do Shopify, because that's the deal, is you have a monthly fee. And especially if you're not selling a lot of products yet, or if you're just starting out, you may not want to start out with the membership. Adrian, do you know how much it costs for the monthly membership, or does anybody? It's like 89 bucks or 129.
I'll check it out. I can't remember. The problem was that you paid the base fee, and then for every extra element you wanted to use, you paid a supplemental fee, and that's when it could suddenly rack up. If you
Right.
wanted a more complex shop with all sorts of processing and payment, you pay for everything you use.
Right.
But they have written it to work together. That was the advantage. So I
So
suppose
I'm
it's
gonna-
weighing
I'll-
up how much you pay a web designer versus buying a ready-made system.
There was another interesting thing that they came up with last week, was that basically coming off Amazon, you actually have to have a slightly more efficient and robust economic system, because it's going to be slightly more expensive. So you have to allow for that in your profit margin.
People spend
Shopify
hundreds-
has different levels from $10 to 70, whatever, depending on what kind of levels and services you want. So you can choose.
Nice. Okay, good. I'll talk a little bit about WordPress because I know more about WordPress than I do about Shopify. WordPress is the sort of main content management system on the internet. Most websites that you see now are WordPress. And WordPress works on plugins as well. There's a plugin called WooCommerce, W-O-O Commerce. And there's even a WooCommerce theme for WordPress. All that stuff is free. So if you, and it may not be quite as user-friendly, although it's pretty darn user-friendly. But essentially same deal, you set up your shops, you put your things in there, you can link everything to Amazon or wherever you want it to go to, and all that stuff is free. And I think, maybe at a later date we can do, how to set up a website and, how to set up an e-commerce site and things like that, and see, what kind of things people are interested in with that. But that's kind of my experience. And again, the WooCommerce plugin and the WooCommerce theme for WordPress is pretty intuitive and pretty user-friendly. As far as landing pages, there's also a plugin for landing pages on WordPress, and it's all free. And as long as you have a domain and a little bit of time to either figure it out, or you can farm that stuff out on to somebody on Fiverr, and and you can probably get the same results without having to pay quite as much per month. It might cost you a little bit to get it set up, but then you're not getting hit with the monthly fees, and that's just my thought on that. And yeah, there's different ways to skin a cat, so that's cool.
Sure.
And the other one I wanted to mention is Wix for websites as well. And I know that Candy had done her website with Wix, and a lot of people, and they've been really marketing as well. They do have like a special thing for e-commerce. If you look up, on their website, they have kind of a whole, maybe they're just trying to compete with Shopify and things like that. And so they've got a whole e-commerce thing that they can plug into the website too. So there's some options for you there. And again, it's all about plugins. It's all about the functionality. So every little functionality that you get is sort of another little thing that you download, and it's another little add-on that your theme or your Shopify store will utilize to be able to do different things.
Stuart, can I just say very quickly that,
Yeah,
I mean, on WordPress, for example, which is probably the main language, you can buy templates that have been ready prepared. So if you go onto someone like elegantthemes.com, they've written, say, 100 odd standard templates for standard type of shop, standard type of consulting, selling ebooks. It's not a completely finished site, but they've written all the code for the basic framework. So you have to have somebody with the knowledge to complete it, but you're buying a look, and you just got to plug in your photos, finish the job, add in anything you want to add in with the plugins you have to buy. But you can buy a whole template for a whole website.
Those themes are very professional. A lot of people like those. I think Divi is one of those themes that's probably one of the most popular.
That's the one. Yeah, Elegant Themes Divi.
Elegant Themes, right? And then essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian, but when you pay for the subscription, you get access to all their themes and you can use whatever you want.
Yeah, and the great thing is it's one-off, Stuart. So if you pay, I mean, you can buy the whole suite of templates for, I don't know, $100 odd or a couple of hundred, you get the whole lot. Or you can pay a lesser fee and just buy a few, but you've got them, they're yours. The trouble with WordPress is you've got to be careful with security. You need someone that knows what they're doing to make sure the site's been properly built and secured, and you've put the relevant security plugins into it.
I'm just looking at the time.
Yeah, sorry, Stuart.
I'm like, oh my God, we got 6 minutes left. How hilarious. This is why we run like an hour and a half or more on Thursday nights, because it just we just roll through like this. And this is also an argument, a nice argument to maybe do an afternoon session in place of one of the after calls that we can get all the people from the UK and we can kind of roll through some stuff and spend a little more time. John was pretty clear to tell me that I could roll a little longer if we wanted. And then of course, book club in a half hour kind of thing. So that's fine. Once John clicks that button, man, we're all gone. So that's fine.
You're only 25 minutes in.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Sorry. Okay. Thank you for that. All right. We got another half hour. Thank you.
You thought we started at 4, didn't you?
I did. I totally had
You're the one that put this on the calendar.
I know, dude. I know. And I got to say, like, for you East Coasters that we've been like putting to sleep every night.
Yes.
And I know who you all are. That part of this was to be able to start a little bit earlier to give you guys an opportunity to not be exhausted while we were doing stuff. Don't you appreciate that a little bit, Cyril?
And I thank you, Stuart. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Right.
I'm an early
What
bet,
time
you
is it,
know.
Cyril? What time is it where you are, Cyril?
It's coming up to 1 a.m.
Oh my God.
Oh.
We love you.
No, that's early for me.
You know what?
It
Hey,
really is
Cyril.
early.
Cyril, you know what that's called?
What's that?
That's called magnet time.
That's awesome. I love it. All right, guys. So I'll just keep rolling, considering we have more than 4 minutes left. So Joe from UK 2 weeks ago had emailed me about doing some product selection ideas, and I just wanted to mastermind that with you guys. And I know that there's modules on those things, and I would refer her to see those things. But I had a couple ideas in terms of how I like to think about product ideas and product selection. And then, we'll toss it around and see what you guys think about that. So one thing I would mention, and really kind of 101 is like, just go to Amazon, right? And you can just, click on the different categories and scroll through and see, and even look at categories that you might be interested in. And then you can kind of scroll down and dial down and maybe you can find some products. Obviously on Helium 10, you can use the product tab, right? And if you put something in the keyword section on the product tab, then it'll show you all the different products. And we've been taught to, when you're on Helium 10, to sort it on the products tab by revenue, high to low. Whereas everybody knows my favorite tab on Helium 10 is the keywords tab. And if you're on the keywords tab, then you sort it by search volume. But if you're going to do it on the products side, then you want to sort it by revenue so that you can see, what products are going to be viable to sell. And then personally, and some of you guys may have heard me say this, I feel like the things that we know the most about selling, even in theory, are the things that we tend to buy, right? And if you're going to be an expert on something, it's most likely stuff that's already in your house, right? In terms of, knowledge about a product or knowledge about a subject or things like that, right? And so typically what I'll do is I'll go back through my Amazon purchase history. I'll go back through my Amazon browsing history, and I'll look at things that I've just been shopping for, things that I bought, and that doesn't always pan out, but at least if you just feel it a blank, it kind of gets the juices flowing a little bit. For me, as an outfitter, an outdoor rec guide, and things like that, the products that I tend to shop for on Amazon are hard. Like, I spend a lot of time trying to find the thing that I want, right? Because I have such strict criteria. I want lightweight, I want waterproof, I want durable, I want all these things in what I'm getting. And half of the time I can barely find what I want on Amazon. Or if I do, it literally takes way longer than just trying to buy, a random item. I think, if you think about the kind of things that you buy, then you might have an idea about the kind of things that you want to sell. Again, for me, when I started thinking about the things that were harder for me to find, what do you think that translates to? What does that mean to me?
Opportunity.
Opportunity, right? Low competition. Low
Yep,
competition.
and longer tail keywords.
Right? Absolutely. I know. Crazy. Yeah, you can't really find llama packs on.
Yeah, niches.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, and then so that's kind of an option. And then there's the concept of trend watching, right? And looking for trends. There's a couple of really great websites that I can maybe throw in the chat or something like that, or I can just show you. I'm going to just show you a couple pages here. Is that cool? Okay. So there's trendwatching.com. It's a subscription service, but they also have free content. And it's really just all about trying to identify trends in markets and products. High Point Market here, they have a whole trend watch thing, and I'll throw that in there, but it's all kinds of, all the different categories. They've got like webinars and things like that you can check out. Trend Hunter is another one of those websites that essentially all the different products, all the different categories of things. And so Trend Hunter is a good one. And then I found a Facebook group on trend watching, and I want to say that that is their Facebook page. What do you notice about that right away?
Looks like,
They got good branding, right?
yeah.
You can tell it's the same company without even thinking about it, right?
Right.
Okay. Anyway, so trends is a good thing. That website that I always forget the name of.
It's Wanlo or Wanalo, Want Look Love or Want. Yeah,
Want Eat Pray Love.
It's WANELO.
Wanelo.
Yeah, and you can. There's an app on the phone. Oh, it's loading. Hold on. Let me go back to it so you'll see what it looks like. It's kind of just got a bunch of different color squares: yellow, orange, blue.
I'm gonna stop sharing here.
Oops, sorry. Wanlo.
Right, just talk.
Wanlo. WANELO. And you kind of have to do a little bit of training but it's basically means want, look, love. So trend watch.
Wanelo. And if you've ever been there, it's a little goofy, but you go through there and you can definitely find ideas. Mark, I know you've been doing some Pinterest gigs on the Monday calls or something like that, right? You want to talk about Pinterest for a minute?
Well, just not only Pinterest, but of course, a lot of people are doing the Etsy, but a lot of things other than Amazon, even local markets. What else do I have up here? The blogs like Lifehack, Cratejoy, Houzz, Houzz. I mean, any of these sites that, and the reason I'm kind of going those directions is because I'm more into the sort of the home decor and an indoor outdoor garden sort of environment. That's what I'm sort of focusing on. But even just going to the local stores, I'm putting on. When I go to one of these places, I do this. The hat that goes on is much what's been told or offered to us already is to just kind of get your creativity button going and look for things. Oh, how could I improve in that? It can be stuff like what Stuart has mentioned around the house. What are your pain points? What things need improving around your house? What devices or what things that you have that you could look at and go, if they just made this modification or did something like this, now you may get on there and find that, there are 15 bazillion people doing the same thing and they just aren't marketing that way on Amazon. You might have an opportunity, but you have to keep looking around. You're going to go down some rabbit holes and you're going to get shut down. And because it's just a kind of a dead end. So you just got to keep looking. You got to work through the fails to get to the successes. It's just, and this is the worst part of all of it is this whole initial product, start, because the impetus, trying to get the kinetic energy sort of moving, you just got to start working it, and you have to just keep working through those. I mean, Tim Jordan's, Bradley Sutton, Manny Coates, Kevin King, every single one of them says the same thing. Amy Weiss, they're all telling us all the same stuff. Gary, from today, we were watching the 80-20 stuff. on this this 1 week long seven-figure serious seller summit. This is these guys have already mentioned this a number of times today to about 5 or 6 different of these seven-figure sellers. I mean, this is kind of the hardest part, is to get that going and get moving through this. So don't limit. As a matter of fact, most of them don't even go on Amazon initially. They're looking at other venues and other environments.
I'll add something to that I heard a coach say a while back. Everything is keywords. You drive down the street or you look around your house, and it's not even the product that you're looking at, it's the keywords. And once you start thinking in terms of keywords, then you have a much better chance of finding niches and having an understanding of what people are searching for. And I think, you can sort of get stuck on one particular product, but if you start thinking in terms of keywords, then I think that opens a whole new way of thinking about getting products. Cool. Facebook groups was another one that we had talked about, and I think again, there's a lot of good information out there about that. We can do a thing on Facebook groups another night, and Facebook ads. But essentially, you go to Facebook, you go to groups, you search, and you can search broad or specific for either sort of category type things or individual products, and you can find communities that are centered around various different activities, lifestyle things, products, and as we've all learned, that when people are part of a group or a community, they tend to be a little more passionate about that thing, that activity, and they tend to not be as thrifty when it comes to spending money on that thing that they love and that they're passionate about, right? So that's that. And then anybody else got any other ideas on product, how to generate product ideas?
Stuart, I was just going to say on your Facebook comment, I seem to remember, I have to check the notes from one of our training sessions, that you can do a survey on the Facebook groups as well. You can launch surveys to find out what they're thinking. I can't remember the details. I'd have to look that up. I'll check the notes out. But
okay.
You can actually try and survey them and ascertain what their likes and dislikes are. Of course, the other one, one of the obvious ones, was just looking at the reviews to see what people are saying they want. Which we sort of overlook, really. If you've got enough time to trawl through some of those reviews in the area you're interested in, you pick up tips about what they don't like, what they do like. We had a session based around that sort of thing as well.
Brilliant, brilliant.
The other thing I was going to say is pop into your local favorite boutique, your local grocery store, organic store, and look at the gift section, and you can kind of get a vibe on what is trending, and you can elaborate from there, I think, as well.
Yeah, if you're a hippie.
Another obvious one.
Takes one to know one. Takes one to know one. Adrian, I was going to ask if you would do a little research on the Facebook survey thing, and maybe next week.
I'll try and find that in the notes.
Okay.
I'm sure we did that in one of our sessions with someone like Christine, I think. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Hey, Stuart, and just as a reminder, I think about a week ago, maybe it was a little longer than that, it's kind of Groundhog Day for me these days, but the whole Pinterest 2020, all the links that we had sent, I'd recommend you maybe jump back in there a little bit and look at some of the trend data, because although that may not give you the exact product, at least it starts kind of driving you down the areas where it looks like there are some, maybe some better opportunities, or where society or culture might be going as a whole. And coming this Thursday, the session that I do will be related to kind of the strategic and tactical global aspect of things. So I'm going to talk a little bit about news, and it's very much up that alley, and where we go with that. And again, it's not really about product search per se. It's more about how, on a geopolitical level, as we move into these other environments, what could you use, as a matter of consideration to look for certain things that might open up a door, might give you the, the $1 million product. All of a sudden just happens upon you because of that sort of thing.
Or it might give you a clue that a door is closing on a certain thing. Because I remember a couple months ago you sent me an article about what was it? All the jute factories in Bangladesh were closing, right? And it all sounds trivial unless you're selling stuff made out of jute, right? And it's important stuff, exactly. So I was going to open this up for just a Q&A and sort of a round robin thing, and we can go from there, because again, I didn't really have time to get, or we just didn't get a list of topics from people. And I can just talk for a while, but I kind of would rather just have you guys, because I know some of you people, there's 25 people on this call. I know that there's people that have questions and are working through things. So I'm just going to flip it to you guys from there.
Stuart, I don't know that this is anything to do with what we've just been talking about, but when I was at the doctor's office this afternoon, I saw a brief part of a TV thing from one of the news channels. I don't know if it was Fox News, but one of those type of things. And they were talking about how if President Trump puts more bans on China, then Alibaba is going to be, we were discussing Alibaba in detail. And unfortunately, I didn't get to hear it all, but that's a concern, you know, what's going to happen there, you know?
You're absolutely right.
And let me interject. What I'll do, Gail and Stuart, is thank you for mentioning that. Maybe I can find some additional information to, you know, just a matter of current events sort of stuff. I don't know that I can, you know, get down into the weeds, but I'll see what I can find and see if there are some links that I can bring to the table on Thursday that might be helpful in that regard.
Nice. Didn't I send you an email this morning with like a whole thing about how the election, you know, and that the coming election is really going to, you know, create certain environments in the market and things like that. And,
yeah,
and
very interesting to see.
I think it's important for us all. You know, it's so crazy. 6 months ago, I had no mind for this, right? You know, and now we're all international, you know, business people, and you know, those of us that have, you know, brought our first products in, we're officially importers, right? I mean, it's a whole bizarre thing, and I think, you know, very few of us, if any, could have seen ourselves, you know, sitting on a Zoom room talking about, you know, global market trends and things like that. Just kind of blows me away. Unbelievable.
It's a first for me.
Gail, I know that you were going through the verification process, right? You got your driver's license, bank account.
I got all of that, and I opened up my Chase bank account, and then I think I spoke to you all the other day wondering whether I should, if I needed to have my name and my business name. And I went back and checked my papers, my LLC and all of those, and they have my business name and my name on it. So I was supposed to go to the bank today, but I got held up with MRIs and all sorts of tests today. So tomorrow I have an appointment to go back to the bank to have everything changed so that it has both my business name and my name on the account. She wasn't very happy with me, but too bad.
Dude, she works for you. She works for you.
Yeah. So that's where I am now.
Good.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share a win? Have a question?
I was just checking the survey information. It looks as though, I mean, certainly one of the aspects is if you have a Facebook page, you can create a survey. There's a video on Facebook about how to do it.
Share your screen, bro. Share your screen.
Oh, I haven't opened it all up, Stuart. It's just a whole bunch of returns on. So I'd have to go through them. But what it's saying is you can put up a bunch of questions to try and get interest from interested parties on the questions you're interested in. You can literally direct that towards an area, a product, a category.
So is it targeted? Is it targeted to users, or is it?
Well, that's what I was trying to work out just now. I do remember this in a session way back, but I think you can direct it.
Right.
I think Facebook does. Yeah.
Where you can target to you know, different demographics, and maybe even to different groups. Is it similar in this, or is it only surveys to members of a group?
I think you can target it, but I don't know how you do it. We'd have to go through the whole thing and see how you set it up. But maybe this will get covered in one of the other sessions, maybe Shannon's session or something like that. But
Or we just
it's
troubleshoot-
interesting.
Whatever, man. We got 15 minutes. Let's try.
We can go through the whole thing.
I'm gonna pull up my screen and we'll go do it. We'll figure it out. Okay. Because I ain't got nothing else to talk about anyway. So.
I think there are other tools you can use, software tools as well. But Facebook has its own survey publisher, I think,
Nice.
as far as I remember.
Okay. Well, let's see. I love every time I type something, I'm like, everybody sees what I've been searching for.
There you go. All those products, Stuart.
All right. So I want to say somewhere you can go to groups. These are just my groups, right? So you can search groups. Hold on, I'm going to move this aside. So where were you when
You've got to go onto the Surveys for Pages app, it says. You go onto your Facebook personal account and go to the Surveys for Pages app. Can you see anything like that? Surveys,
So
there you go.
interesting, I can see right away that there's a SurveyMonkey integration, which is cool because I use SurveyMonkey for other things.
Yeah.
Let's see what their top result is. So publish a survey in Facebook in just a minute.
There you go.
In this 1-minute tutorial, we'll see how
we'll just read.
Easy it is to create a poll and publish it on a Facebook page we manage.
All right, we're going to watch this. Can you hear it?
First, let's type in a title and authorize the app. We'll ask our followers about their favorite ice cream flavor and give them 3 options to choose from.
So this is polls for pages.
We also add an image for each option to make the poll more visual. Great. Let's preview what we've done so far. Here, we see how the poll will look like on desktop and mobile devices. Fantastic. Now let's continue and publish the poll. We click the Add to a Facebook page button and choose our page from the list. The app takes us to our page where the poll was successfully installed.
So that is specific to your own page. Let's see what else we got. What did you call it, Adrian? Survey app, something?
They said something about survey. Hang on a minute. Survey app. Surveys for Pages app. I'm going to look back in my notes. I'm going to have to dig out all the notes going back on this.
Got it right here.
What does that do?
Well,
earn money for taking surveys. Yeah, this is what I seem to remember, that you could.
That's just where we were.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Okay, I like the idea of troubleshooting that. And maybe one night we can do like a whole Facebook marketing thing, and we can do surveys and pages and things like that.
That'd be great. Right.
All right, what else? Come on, 25 people.
I got a question. This is Debbie.
Hey, Debbie.
Hi. When you're getting ready to put or order your first product and put it on the Amazon, how important is it that you have your brand and your logo and all that ready for the first product?
I think there's
I'm sort of
different
stumbling on that and a brand name. I have several ideas, but I'm like, I don't really want that to be the reason that I don't keep moving forward. What's your thinking? Just move forward without a brand and then build.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of schools of thought of that. One, obviously, you hit on it, that you don't want to necessarily get stuck in a place of not being able to move forward, right? So if you're not ready to do any kind of branding, then sure, a lot of people are being encouraged to list products as generic and not necessarily have a brand, and there really isn't anything wrong with that. And then the other side of that coin is, a lot of things we are being taught is to think about branding from the very beginning, so that, as we build our business, that you're thinking about these things, and then you don't kind of get, part of the way down the road and realize that, you didn't do some of the things that you needed to do. So, I mean, it's not an answer that I can say this is what you do or what you don't do. It's really more of a preference. And if you feel like you're not ready to deal with branding, then rock and roll and get some products on Amazon and start making some money, right? I mean,
Well,
That's
there
Stuart,
was
can I?
some addition to that as
Oh.
well, in that that they were basically saying you don't necessarily have to have your branding stuff done at first, but because you can use your initial products online as research for your overall branding. First of all, to find out whether it's the product sells, and thereafter to see, for example, what colors might be better and so on. So basically, you do it as a stage process, but keep moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Can I come in on that one, Debbie? I was just going to say one of our group members got stuck this way. She tried to launch her first product with a brand. She couldn't understand why she couldn't get through the setup on the Amazon pages, and it turned out that it was because she hadn't registered and gone through all the branding process. They wouldn't let her launch. She had to make it generic in order to be able to do a sample product and get going.
Oh, okay.
So that's the problem. I think you've got to go through the whole of the process and create the brand, etc., and register it properly to a degree. Otherwise, they won't. You can't get through the algorithm and the setup engine. She got completely stuck.
We've done a couple of good sessions over the last, I don't know, 2 months or so. We did one on IP and brand registry at the top level, but then we've done several other sessions that talked about getting brand exception, and that's really how you get your brand approved without having a trademark, right? And the classic scenario is the error 5665 that we've talked about. And what you have to do is you have to send an email to seller support. You have to include say this is a request, I'm requesting brand exception for this brand. You have to put the name of brand, make it very, very clear for them. And then you have to submit several photos of your product with your branding on the product or the packaging. And then typically within a couple of days, they get back to you. And we've had that done for several of our brands. And this goes, we've talked about this a lot from the very beginning because Lee and I have ideas about several different brands that we want to do, and maybe some of you do as well. And the thought of having to get several different trademarks and all these kinds of things was a little daunting. And so if you're at the point where you're thinking about branding, but you're not quite thinking about trademarking, this is a good option. And what this does, you're not allowed, if you get trademarks and IP accelerator program, then you can create stores, and you can have several different stores. You can have a store for each brand, right? And that's kind of the top level stuff. And then you get all the enhanced brand content and A+ content for your listings and things like that. If you're not ready to go there, but you still want to have different brands on your seller page, right? Because you have your main sort of seller store page, right? And if you create several different brands, then as you're scrolling down, you'll see all your products, but they can be listed under different brands. And so it's at least a way to do that. And that error 5665, again, if anybody needs that, I'll send that out again, but I'm pretty sure, I sent that out pretty recently. And that's the way to deal with sort of if you're not going to do branding, if you're not going to do generic, but you're not going to go ahead with the trademarking, then this is kind of a good middle of the road way to do that.
Yeah, I think that's where I am, and I apologize if I didn't see it. I wasn't at that place, so I sort of put it in my storage bin to reference it. So thank you. Just the other thing that I noticed is that I have an iPhone that has a news app on it, and there's a BuzzFeed, and BuzzFeed puts out some pretty interesting little articles. Like I saved one, and it's called as ideas, and this one's called 31 products that reviewers say left them totally satisfied. And I just thought it was an interesting place to to have a look and see if what was listed, and give you ideas too. So that was something I find.
Give us one example.
Pardon?
One example.
Okay. Well, the first one on the list is let me scroll down. Bear with me. Is Revlon hot airbrush. And I think some of these are really old, but like this one is a handheld vacuum for dog hair. And some of them are, skip by them, but some of them just to give you ideas to play off of and, build on. But they have other, I think BuzzFeed puts out some little tidbits like that on the news app. And I've thought, well, that's pretty cool. Maybe, and I've stored it away again, but because I have an idea that I'm working on. But I thought that was interesting to look at.
Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. It really just reminds us that it's all about the mindset. And if you have the mindset of a marketer, then you walk around and you see everything as, you know, a potential product or potential keyword kind of thing. And so if you just sort of, you know, walk through the world with that level of awareness, then I think we'll all be better at just sort of, you know, generating product ideas and maybe even, you know, finding niches and picking winners and things like that. There's definitely a whole headspace about it, right? And often, you know, we have a tendency to just hit roadblocks, mental blocks, whatever. You know, I get a lot of emails from people. I'm just stuck on product selection. I can't think of products and all that. And hopefully we help some of those folks tonight with this little brainstorm session. Next week, I think maybe you guys can tell me how you want to do this. And I'll just say this in closing, that you'll note that I didn't promote this show on the other email list, right? And I'm just trying to be clear about how that looks, and how I feel like I'm in my integrity as we move forward with these things, right? And so I'm grateful that we had almost as many people as we usually have on the Thursday call. So thank you guys for showing up, and I really do appreciate it, because I half expected that there would only barely be a couple few people on this call tonight. So I'm grateful that you guys showed up, and I'm glad to kind of, you know, mind meld with you guys and brainstorm a little bit. And I'm enjoying it. Any feedback?
But Stuart, you asked so nicely at today's daily success call, or success mastermind call. You were so sweet. You were like, well, if I'm going to be on my own, I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, this is like 1:30 in the morning for me in London, and here I am. So, you know, you can't ask that nicely and not get people say yes to you. Come on.
Oh my God, Evie, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And I really do. This is great. And I want to say that as John builds this community and as time goes on, all of it is just going to get cooler and cooler. And I'm excited
Absolutely.
for all of us. And honestly, like, it's interesting to see how everything boiled down from the 200-300 people that were on John's call, you know, a couple months ago or whatever. Then it was kind of the folks that were on, you know, the last little phase of things. And now I think it's really distilled down to a very easily identifiable group of people. You could probably close your eyes and rattle off, you know, about 20 names of everybody that you already know is going to be a part of whatever it is that we're doing. So I just think it's super cool. And I don't know if John's here or not, but I'm grateful to have this platform.
That's awesome.
You know, and to be able to work with you guys and do stuff. And this is as much about moving forward on my own journey and sharing that with you guys. And one of the things I've talked to John about and Leah about and all these things is, and I hope we all would agree that, you know, John always tells us not to get too comfortable in one place, right? And so as we move forward in our journeys with this, and the metaphor I use is an outdoor metaphor, so I don't like to pitch my tent in one place too long, kind of thing. And so the concept, and that's how you climb the mountain. That's how you mountaineer. You can't stay in one place, right? You make camp 1, camp 2, camp 3, camp 4, right? And so as we were doing all this stuff, if some of you guys remember, the first things that I was sharing with people were just how to start your Amazon thing, how to start a business, right? And those were like the first hurdles that I jumped through, and felt like when I heard people that were struggling with those things, how could you not be like, oh, here's this is my experience, right? So I'm grateful for all you guys. And I got to say, like, and maybe you've caught this, but, you know, my business model is a little unorthodox, right? And you know, there's a part of me that feels really humbled by, you know, being amongst a company, you know, of people that, you know, are in corporate America, in, you know, exec positions or administrative positions and things like that. And so, you know, I'm excited to sort of share my, you know, more mavericky approach to life, but I also want to hear how that relates to, you know, a more traditional, you know, corporate gig. So I'm looking forward to all of this. Any closing remarks? I mean, we got book club. Who's coming to book club in a half hour?
Me.
I'll be there.
Me, I'll be there.
I gotta read for a half hour to know what the hell I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
Wait,
That's
what's
amazing,
the
baby.
one? What's the word that I looked up? Importunity. Was that the one?
Yeah, right. That's good stuff.
All right,
hey,
guys.
I wanna say thank you and congratulations, Stuart. You've been instrumental in helping fill the calendar. And of course, right now we're all just getting our legs here, figuring this out. But I am expecting this is gonna pack out pretty quick. So thank you, Stuart, and thank you everyone who's part of the core group.
Yeah.
Because just hours ago, you guys remember, oh, you know what? I won't say this on the recording. When you end the show, I'll tell you privately what you
Okay,
got.
wait. So wait, I won't. Well, here I go. Because I was recording to the cloud, I'm just going to stop the. Oh wait, let me sign off. All right, guys. Thanks so much. This is the end of our first e-commerce work group, and it was great to have you all. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Stuart.
Bye.